we get canceled.
¿Qué lo que, Knicks fan? Welcome to another episode of Knicks Wildin' Podcast, the rebranded Knicks Wildin' Podcast. Episode 65, training camp preview. Season preview, regular season preview. Training camp is over, preseason is over, and now it's time for Knicks basketball, baby. And of course, gotta bring in the guys. It's Don Juan. Tell the people it's really good.
Yo, it's Don Juan in the building, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Excited for the season. Glad preseason's over. Got to get that funk out of there. Honestly, it was hard to watch. And you know how the training camp, those last preseason battles for the last roster spot could get ugly. But I ain't trying to see those guys, man. We ain't gonna see those guys play 1 minute in the season. But hey,
People
got to
tripping,
get your
bro.
money. So I respect it. Do your thing, man. But man, we got a great guest today, man. Not the one and only, the Prez of Off the Ball Network is Chris LeBron, man. Thank you for
Sir,
joining
Chris,
us,
thank you
man.
for joining
What's
me.
good, my guys?
We love
It's
giving you
like a
your flowers when you're here on the show.
I appreciate it. I always love hopping on the show, so I'm excited to talk. I haven't really dove into a lot of Knicks stuff with work and all that, but y'all told me that y'all wanted me on, so I was like, I got to make it happen and all that. So I'm excited. Season's next week. It's around the block. It can't. This shit is. It just happened. It felt like we had so much time. It's like, no, it's next week.
nice.
So I'm excited though.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Thank you for joining. This is like this is gonna be our third season preview with you. So this is kind of a tradition right here. We're
Yeah,
building up
yeah.
to tradition, and you see, I got the banner over here. I got the parade. It's kind of backwards. It's set up
The
pretty
AI
backwards.
parade.
Yeah, my guy Nick Central posted it, Alex. You could check out his bad weather fans with him and Mike. So he let me rock with this, and yeah, this is what I'm predicting right here. So you can see me in the background over there, just
I can see you already, bro. You
passed
you
out in the back over
you
there.
you hanging on the one of the
Yeah,
buildings right there.
that's
You like Spider Man.
yo man,
You
damn.
gotta manifest it, man. That's what life's about sometimes, man.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. But let's dive right into it, fellas. So look, the New York Knicks last year was Jalen Brunson's first season, and I think even the most optimistic Knicks fans will say that last year was a complete success. 47 wins. You got the point guard of the future in Jalen Brunson. You went to the postseason. You won a round in the postseason. You took
Hmm.
the Eastern Conference Finals team to 6 games,
Mhm.
basically with one player. So it was all around successful season. So now, if you're the New York Knicks, how are you building off on this? How are you building off on this? They was pretty quiet in the off season. So, Chris, I want to start and ask you a question. How would you rate the Knicks off season? I mean, they didn't do anything. They punted on the draft, which I know you hate. They didn't draft
I
nobody
feel about
again.
that.
You spent 5 hours on Knicks fan TV and for nothing again.
We didn't even get to do a show. I was just on wait. We were like, if they
It
anything
was
happens, then
crazy.
we'll
It
do
was
something.
crazy.
They were
You
like,
you
yo,
trade
doesn't
you
look like
trade
anything
Obi
happened.
Toppin for second rounders and you just pick up Dante DiVincenzo. So the Knicks, they want to build up. They want to build from last year.
Hmm.
But how would you say was the offseason? Do you see the Knicks building off from last year?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned before, Jalen Brunson. I think we all expected that. All right, we finally got a point guard, but to think that we might have a point guard that may be a franchise player and that was a near all should have been all star. Let's keep it a real. Let's keep it a buck. Should have been an all star at least. Was almost all NBA, type of player. I don't think any of us expected that level of play from Jalen Brunson. That there was that level, that extra level of game to his, extra level to his game, which and that was why that was the one thing that I did not expect him to take that. I thought he'd be solid for us, and we have finally a solid point guard. But I thought they would win 38 to 41 games and to win 47, win it and dominate the first round. Like we dominated the Cavs, and all that. So it was impressive. And like I said, it was quiet. And listen, you know how I feel about the draft. I'm still someone that believes that you have to build through the draft to get where you want to be, right? Most teams, it's very rare, that we see teams be able to dominate and win championships through, you know, you know, free agency trading and all that. Just it's very rare and all that. Most of the teams we see, the Warriors and teams like that, they build through the draft, and that's how that's why people are excited about the Thunder and teams like Orlando, a lot of these younger teams because they built through the draft and all that, and I still think that is, but that's not the case with us right now, and we but I feel like this year, I feel optimistic. I do feel optimistic. Yeah, we only got Dante DiVincenzo. He's a solid piece and all that, but we build off Brunson. Coming into year two, you know, Randall is going to give you do what Randall does year in year out. He's going to give you it every night. Another year, Quentin Grimes getting better. IQ, contract year IQ, that might be dangerous. All that. So there's good things, and like the East is, I think we didn't make a lot of moves, but other teams kind of got. Either teams are in limbo, like the Cavs. Like a lot of people thought the Cavs would be like the top 3, top 4 team. Now we're like, Jared Allen, he kind of looks loose in the playoffs, against Mitchell Robinson and Randall and all that. So we don't know what's going to happen there with Mitchell. He's up in the air. Won't be there. Miami, yeah, they went to the final, but they lost a lot of pieces. Philly, we that's drama every day.
Facts.
Obviously we know Boston is they're the cream of the crop, and then Milwaukee too. But after that, it's a crapshoot. So I feel good because of everybody else kind of taking a step
Why
down,
not? Why not New York?
and so
Why not
why
the
not
Knicks?
us? So I feel like I think we should, health wise, I think we should be solid, and then, I'm excited to see, how Grimes, potentially takes the next step and all that. So I'm optimistic more than I was this time last year because Brunson. I mean, Brunson, I think gives us a lot of optimism for sure. So, and then we still, I know it's every year we're like, oh, we're always in some type of rumor with someone, right? Every year it's this, we're interested in this and that. This could be the year where they finally do something. It just could be a pipe dream and all that, but they have the ammunition to make something happen.
Facts.
So
And the
that's
rumors
also
started
a big
early.
thing. Yeah,
The cat rumors started
yeah,
last week. Like, damn, the
yeah.
season hasn't even started. We already hearing rumors.
We hearing rumors now. There's certain rumors. I'm like, oh no, I don't want that one. I don't want that one. But they have put their there's two ways to look at it. You can look at it optimistic. You look at pessimistic. I think as Knicks fans, we're naturally pessimistic because let's just be real. It's been something always bad happens, but they put themselves in position to do something big. I think they're trying to figure out who's that right piece. So that's another way to look at it too. Also, like there's so many levels to this, like and all that. So it's like you want to make a move, but you just don't want to make any move like they would have done 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So, but you want to make the right move and you want to make the right deal for the right guy. And I think that's what Leon's doing. I think he's patient, maybe for some people waiting too long. But you know how these deals get sometimes. It could take. Look at the Dame. The Dame thing took forever. So some of these things take forever. So we'll see what happens. But I think I'm definitely more optimistic going into this year than I was last, simply because the East. After Milwaukee, after Boston, it's up in the air. So I feel good. Us being in that right in there in that third, fourth spot.
Okay. And that you mentioned that, not making a move and no trades. Just the Knicks front office. I gotta give credit to them for holding out and not really swinging for the fences with Donovan Mitchell or even with Dame, honestly, because we heard the rumors to those guys too. But another decision that the Knicks gotta make, and you brought it up earlier, the Knicks with Manuel quickly, they gotta make this contract. They gotta decide on whether they're gonna agree to a contract extension. They got until Monday, what is that, the 23rd, to decide on this contract extension. And honestly, I'm a little bit wary about it because it could go two ways on how it could affect Emmanuel quickly. But I wanted to ask you, do you think it's best to lock him in now or just wait until the off season?
I think they're gonna wait because they could use him as a trade piece too. And if you lock him up, then that's going to make things a little bit complicated. So I think they wait it out, and I think he probably wants to wait it out because the way the money is now, man, somebody might give him more than we're even thinking about the number. So I don't think they'll give him the extension he wants, or else they would have gave it to him already, in my opinion.
Sure.
if they want to lock him in. And like I said, I think they think there's a lot of things rumbling and all that, and I really feel like they have their eyes on certain players that we are not even thinking about. So I think I don't think the deal gets done, and I feel something in my gut says they're gonna pull something crazy off.
Oh
You know,
man.
I just it's
Oh
been a
man.
feeling I had for a few days, and I'm like they're
Oh
gonna do
man.
something. I haven't felt. I always felt. I'm always like they ain't gonna do nothing. They ain't gonna do nothing. Because then they don't do nothing. But it's like I have I just it's just a feeling I have. It just I'm like so I feel like something's gonna happen. I feel like they're gonna capitalize. Like they're gonna take advantage of all these picks. Listen, it's like when you see OKC, they got 27, 37 first round picks and all that. They ain't gonna use them all. They're gonna try to do what they did a few years when they got Paul George. And I feel like the Knicks are kind of in the same situation. It's like, hey, it's time to capitalize now.
Yeah.
Because then you got to pay Brunson, and that's another factor too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're not a lot of people aren't thinking you got to pay Brunson in a couple years, and he gonna get $200+ million.
But yeah.
So do you want to tie up $300 million on IQ and Brunson? That's another thing. Is like, do you want to do
I'll be
that?
shocked though, Chris. To be honest, I would disagree. I'll be shocked if the Knicks don't sign IQ. I mean, they take care of their guys. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they basically made a choice when they traded OB. I think it was OB or IQ. Like they was gonna keep one of them. And by trading OB for scraps, I think they made the decision that. And these things be dragging on to like the last day. It always
Yeah,
happens with
it
late
always
of the
does. Yeah,
draft guys. Like they get their extension like a day or the day before. I mean, quickly was what the 25th pick in the draft, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, late
Yeah,
first round
something
pick.
like that.
Yeah,
So I'll be shocked, Chris. To be honest, I think they pay him. Yes, they might trade him later on. But the thing with Quickly is that they really value him, and they're not gonna let him walk out the door for nothing. So you gotta basically sign him, and maybe I know you can't trade him for a year or after you sign him, but maybe you
yeah,
trade him next year or you keep him. I mean, Emmanuel Quickly was the third best player on the Knicks last season. I mean, let's not forget about that. I mean, it could be him or Mitch, but once Quick got started, the Knicks really took off. Like in December, he really started clicking. That's when he really started making his case for runner up for six man of the year. So I'll be shocked if the Knicks don't sign Quickly for sure.
Yeah,
I
facts.
wouldn't be surprised either. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think something's gonna happen. That's kind of my thought process
Yeah,
too. Like some gonna pop off.
Yeah, and the reason why even I'm thinking about it is because even I feel like the Tyler Hero contract kind of played a part in the Dame situation where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
hmm
we might not want Tyler Hero, but the contract makes it even worse.
Yeah.
So I felt like that could ultimately decide if a team wants to take on Quickly and not really sign the contract on their terms. Even
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Maxey, if I'm not mistaken, he still hasn't signed a deal yet,
Yeah, he
and,
hasn't
and I'm
gotten a
pretty
contract
sure
extension either.
I'm pretty sure it's because of that. Just in case they got to move on from him, it might be easy. It might be a smoother transition to trade him into a team that is willing to take him on a rookie deal and pay him later. So
that's a
that is
great point.
a pretty interesting. He's gonna be real interesting how it plays out.
It
Yeah,
really
that's
is because, like I said, there's a lot of ways the Knicks can go and all that, and like I said, I just there's something in my gut said, well, whether it's going to be a good move or bad move, I feel like something's going to happen. So
Hmm.
that's kind of my thinking is like they're not going to give IQ his extension and all. They're going to wait, use him as a piece in a trade with all these picks and all that, and do something big. But we'll see. That's just my gut feeling the last few days. I've just been thinking about that. Even at work, I'm like, something telling me they're gonna do something. They're gonna do
well.
something. It's finally gonna happen. But whether, like I said, whether it's good or bad, I don't know. But it's something. Something gonna happen.
Well, this is a perfect segue to my next topic right here. Thank you, Chris. You like threw an alley oop. This was like RJ to Mitch alley oop. I was watching the first quarter and I saw
Woo!
that and I was like, "Yo,
Yeah.
That was
that
nasty.
is something that they have to build on." So let's start with the Knicks hot take right here, and I'm gonna go first because Chris basically threw me the alley oop. That is my hot take, Chris. That's what I was thinking about when I was thinking, what's my Knicks hot take? I think the Knicks actually make a move this year. Like they
Yeah.
actually make a move because I was telling the guys earlier, like last week, the Knicks have the Dallas first round pick. They have their own first round pick, which they traded last year for Josh Hart, and they have Detroit's 1 through 18 pick, which probably doesn't convey, because Detroit, they're gonna be another. They're still a young team, struggling young team, but in saying that, the Knicks also have Detroit's second round pick. So this is another pick in the mid 30s. So the Knicks basically have three picks in the top 40. I think the Knicks utilize two of those picks plus one of these players and actually make a move. Because you see the situation in Chicago. I'm not advocating for Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan, but you see that situation brewing. You see the
Mm-hmm.
situation in Toronto. You know they're not trading for us because we suing their asses. But you see you can see it shake off where the Knicks might be that third team to like take on something or facilitate that move. There's just a lot of teams in the bubble that we know once the season starts, they get off to a bad start, they start blowing it up. And you see, even in the last few trade deadlines, you saw Nikola Vucevic get traded
Mm-hmm.
a few years ago. You saw CJ McCollum moved a few years. You even saw James Harden traded. So the trade deadline, you can
Kate,
get a good piece.
we
You
saw
can get a
Kevin
good
Durant
piece.
get traded.
Yeah. So that is my hot take, fellas. I actually think the Knicks loaded up with these assets for this year. Like this is this year. They have these picks. I think Dallas is gonna finally be a pretty good team. So their pick is gonna be in the 20s. So I think the Knicks, they kind of use that Dallas pick or their own pick plus that Detroit second round pick. And
Gotta
that
cool
is
down.
my fire
That's
take.
a hot take if I
Yeah.
ever heard one right there, baby.
That is, oof,
Woo!
started sweating.
I'm
I
feeling
started
good
sweating.
now.
Don Juan, I gotta hear your hot take, man. While I cool, while I look, I got the
You know,
rag
my
right here, man.
my hot take, man. I mean, man, if I had to choose from either mine or yours, I really like yours, man. I'm not gonna lie, that was a good one. But my hot take is honestly is a little is it's a little rare. I'm not gonna lie. You haven't seen it often. But my hot take is that this year the Knicks will have two six man of the year candidates, and
Mm,
Emmanuel Quickly and Josh Hart. Honestly,
okay.
I've no, actually I have seen it once. It was not too long ago where Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell both went
All
down
right, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
down
The
to the
Clippers, right?
wire. I think Harrell won it, and then Lou Will was finishing third in votes. But it was damn near split. So I could see somewhere along the lines where both of those guys are, finalists, and IQ is the one who wins it. I mean, there's going to be lots of minutes for those two, and especially Josh Hart, who's going to have to, play a power forward. Honestly, I'm convinced that he's going to be the backup power forward. So in he's going to get a lot of goodies. Maybe he might not give you the 17 points that Harold got when he won the award, but he's going to give you at least somewhere between 8 points, 8 rebounds, get some good amount of assists on good percentages, and including some goodies and steals and blocks. So I feel like it's gonna be a tight race with whoever's up there because Brogdon. I feel like every year there's always somebody that kind of puts up a fight, but I think Emmanuel quickly is built to be the next in the line of Jamal Crawford, Lou Will type players, and like I said, I'm expecting big things for Josh Hart on his end.
Yeah. Damn. Don Juan with the hot take. The problem, I don't know. This Josh Hart, like he impacts winning. We see that, but like, are the numbers? That's what
Yeah, I
that's what the
think
tough part. His numbers,
six
they
man usually is a scorer. He's usually a guy
It
who
is a
gets
score. It
18.
is a
It's that's
score.
just how it's just been naturally. So,
yeah,
like what he does, off the bench, I think would get him votes maybe, but I don't think
yeah,
he'll win because somebody's gonna drop 19, 20 a game, and
I agree.
they're gonna give it to that person because that's
Hopefully the
that's kind of
goodies
what the
are enough
award
to get
is.
some votes, some
Yeah, it's
blocks,
the
some
best
steals.
scorer off the bench essentially. That's what the award
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Essentially, be
yeah.
you know.
Because like look at Malcolm Brogdon last year. He went off for 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean,
And quickly was
yeah,
right around there too.
yeah. So it was. Yeah, but that's just the thing. I don't know if Josh Hart would even get to double figures in scoring,
Nah,
average.
he's not gonna get the points,
Nah, he won't
but he's
get the
gonna get
points.
some.
Yeah.
He's gonna get a lot of double
But he
digit
does impact
rebounds.
winning. He does impact winning, and if the Knicks are good, like we expect, they all the eyes are going to be on New York. So that's definitely a doable hot take there, Don Juan, because all eyes are on New York. You know, Josh Hart might get some votes, but got to go to the Prezi right here with the hot take, man. Prezi always comes with something picante.
Hear me out. I just said I have been having like feelings in my stomach about a trade, and it might not be what fans want or what I want.
Oh shit.
but Carl Anthony Towns will end up
Ooh.
being a New York Knick.
Oh my,
Ooh.
It's just a
that is
feeling. It's that
that's just
feeling.
that's a lava. That's a
I don't
Super
try to.
Nova
I
take.
don't. It's not even so much reading into like the tea leaves and all that. It's just the feeling. I just had this feeling, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna do something, whether we like it or not. I said that whether we like it or not, they're gonna do something, and I feel like there might be a little bit much pressure on the front office to do something, and whether it's a rational move or irrational move, they're gonna do something, and I feel like Carl Anthony
And that's the
Towns will
one.
be, you know, in New York. So
Mm.
Yeah,
that's my take. I think like Carl Anthony Towns, they will pull the trigger and they will trade for him.
that's another move with Anthony Edwards taking that leap, and they kind of jumped
Yes,
the gun
that's
with
my
the Rudy
thinking too.
Gobert. They
Hmm.
trying to get some of these picks back and some of these young players, and they have to pay some of their guys too. They got to play Anthony Edwards. They got to pay Vanderbilt, I believe, like or McDaniel's,
No,
one of these.
Vanderbilt's in the Lakers now. Yeah,
Yeah, McDaniels.
McDaniel's is the
Yeah,
one they got to
McDaniel,
pay.
excuse
They
me.
got to
Yeah,
give him $100 million because he's a big
yeah.
piece.
So you
Because
can't
if he
pay
didn't break his
everybody.
hand, they win that playoff game. Like,
Facts.
Yes, I
So
agree.
because remember he acted stupid and broke his hand in the hall. I think the hallway,
Mhm.
right? Leaving.
Yeah, some Amari Stoudemire type
He did some
stories.
Star Amari. He was on his Amari stuff, all that. So yeah, they're gonna have to pay him and all that. So yeah, that's just a feeling. Like I said,
Mm.
it wasn't a good. I didn't say it was gonna be a good feeling, but and then it's not like he's a bad player and all that. I just think I don't know. I don't know if his impact on winning is something we need, but you never know. Maybe he figures it out when he comes here and all that. But I
Yeah.
think they do pull the trigger and make a move and all that. And
I
yeah,
just
that
think
that's how I'm feeling.
New York is just too tough for Towns. I mean, you figure he would have a special connection with me and Don Juan. He's Dominican,
That's something, but he's Dominican.
Yeah, he's a
He's
Dominican.
Dominican.
Hey,
He's
he
not really
played for the
Dominican
Dominican
like
team.
that.
He played for the Dominican team.
Yeah, but he's one of them goofy ones.
He
Like
put the
he ain't one of the
Is.
Bronx Dominican. He ain't like
yeah,
y'all.
nah.
Like
He's
he ain't
not
a
even
Bronx
speaking
Dominican. They
Spanish.
look if he pulls up in the Bronx, they gonna look at him funny. He starts speaking. He's
They
like A
might take
Rod
his
Spanish.
sneakers. They might take his
A
sneakers.
Rod do that proper, like he talking proper Spanish. They're
That's
like, oh
actually the
come on,
person
bro.
I'd be comparing him to on one end.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
A Rod. It's like you just he's a good dude, but you're like man, you someone about those good dudes that they just give you the wrong vibes. I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
hear
something
that.
about him. It's something about him that's just that goofiness and
So
the
Chris, real
3-point
quick,
shooter, like too many threes. You too big. You 7 foot 240 and you shooting 9 threes a game. I don't like. I feel like
Chris,
at
let
the end
me
of the
ask
day,
you
like
something. I don't want to cut you off. What would it be your Carl Anthony Town package? Let's say they
it's
calling you
Mitch.
right now, you Leon Rose and you are what's that, Tim Conley is the GM for Minnesota? I'm not sure. He's calling you on the phone right now. He's telling you we have Towns on the table. You are Leon Rose, Chris. What is your offer?
I'm Leon. All right, so Mitch has got to be in the deal,
Damn, you
or
think so?
does he have to be in the deal?
Yeah, because they got Gobert.
Because they got Gobert, so they might not want Mitch. So we might be able
Yeah.
to keep Mitch. It's got to.
It's got to be
I
that.
think you to be realistic, you got to be like RJ IQ and picks.
Okay.
Wow.
RJ IQ and picks.
So how are we doing this Mitch Randall and Towns thing? Are we bringing Mitch
I
off the
don't
bench?
know.
Like, what are we doing there? We might have to
That's
do
the
a
thing. You might
three-way
have to
and dump
swindle a
Mitch.
third team and all that,
Yeah, we have
but
to. Do,
they, like I said, they're not gonna have much interest in Mitchell Robinson. So you might have to get a third team involved and all that. But if that's the trade, I think realistically you got to go RJ and IQ for Minnesota to even like consider. To be
Entertainment.
honest,
Yeah.
yeah.
because listen, whatever you say about Towns, he's still a dude that's 25 and 10. You know,
But great
and shoots.
percentages.
Yeah, and high. He's a pretty good 3-point shooter for a guy who takes a lot and on a high volume. So something like that, and then or or do you send out Randall?
I mean, that's the one that I felt like
That's
That's
the
what I,
one
yeah,
would
I'm.
that's
make the
what I was
most
thinking.
sense.
That's somebody's. Randall goes. That's some. I mean, I know Randall will not be happy about that, but
Yo, sending it to
but
Minnesota.
it
That's
is
violation.
business.
Hey, you
You
love
know,
CAA. Here's your CAA right here.
yeah, yeah, you know.
Look, if
So
I'm Leon and Chris is the GM for the Timberwolves, and he calls me and tells me Towns is on the table, this is gonna be me. See you later, man. You're not. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm just not. You know, Towns, like I said, Dominican and stuff like that. But I'm just not with Towns, man. Just doesn't make sense. I'd rather keep Randall. Literally, I'd rather keep Randall. He makes half the money as Carl Anthony Towns. But
I feel you. No,
Chris,
no.
I
Like
had
I
to
said,
throw
it's
it
just
out
a
the
feeling. It's a feeling I've had,
trash.
and it's a bad. It's not a great feeling, but it's just something that just
Take
has
a
been in.
shower, man. Hot water, just
I know.
air
I
out.
took a shower. I shaved my head. I got the nice fresh baldy
Oh,
going. You know,
it's
trimmed the beard,
freshy.
and something said Carl Anthony Towns gonna be a Nick, and I was like, oh no, I don't like that. I don't like that. But like I said, I feel like something gonna happen. I mean,
Let's
Yeah,
see.
it
I mean, this is why we say it on the show. We got it on
facts.
record right now, so we'll revisit this by the trade deadline. But let's move on because it's Carl Anthony Towns is getting my stomach hurting right now. I'm getting a little dizzy and all that. So,
he he gonna be like, remember when who was that guy that was running for mayor and he called the boat? He said, "Yo, you're gonna go to a bodega," and it was just like a regular spot in like uptown, like it wasn't a bodega at all. Who
oh
was the
yeah, it was
Andrew Yang? There you go,
Andrew
Andrew.
Yang. Yep.
He's Carl Anthony Towns, the type of dude to go to like one of these fancy like Soho spots and be like, oh, I'm at the bodega, and
Yeah.
it's
Where
like,
they
no,
sell
that's not a
sushi
bodega,
and
bro.
shit. Right?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, nah, he can't rock at
He's
New
gonna
York.
he's gonna go to the Aki Weibo there,
He
guys.
got
Just order like
yeah, you
some
gonna get
Pop
the
Tarts or some
Pop Tarts with Cheetos, hot Cheetos. It's like, yo, nobody does that. You know that, right?
nobody does that.
I tell people all the
Nope.
time, like, when I people like, yo, is that do they do that? I was like, no,
Nobody.
not a
Yeah.
real New Yorkers do not do that. No one does
But
that.
it's
Pop
crazy
Tarts
how
and
it's
all that.
it's really gotten very it's taken off. It's taken
It
off
really has.
on the social media aspect. Oh, we lost Don Juan here, but yeah, let's keep it pushing, Chris. Right here, I want to ask you, who on the Knicks you think is going to take the biggest leap this season? I mean, there's a lot of chatter. You know, you mentioned Quentin Grimes earlier. Mitchell Robinson. We can go down and down the list. There's a lot of players here that the Knicks are banking on taking that leap. We talked
Hmm.
about it earlier how they really didn't make no move. They're banking on internal growth from some of their young guys. So I want to ask you, Prezi, who do you think is going to take the biggest leap this season?
I think naturally, I mean, I want to say Miles McBride because I've been a big fan of it since he was in college and all that, and I love his intensity, and just getting up on dudes, and just being a pest defensively. But I don't know if he's going to get the minutes to make that much of an impact, you know. But I think it's Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes there's so much unlocked potential with him. If you use like I always tell people all the time on this, like watch some of his high school stuff, watch some of the stuff when he was at Kansas and all that, and then he went to Houston. Like watch some of that stuff and see how they use him. And it's I know he gets the comp to Allen Houston, but there's a lot of Allen Houston's stuff that he does that may get you excited and all that. If they use him correctly this year and all that, get him off a lot of pin downs, get him off a lot of screens and all that, use him effectively. He can do some stuff, and that's going to be crucial. Listen, Fournier is not going to be in the lineup. We know that, right? And they're going to need some shooting and some scoring besides Jalen Brunson and Randall and RJ, because we know RJ's still not consistent, knockdown shooter. And Randall's kind of hit and miss, all right? So, right, you need somebody else that can hit perimeter shots and all that. So I think it's just the year 3 for him. I think he's gonna blossom and all that. He showed flashes last year. I think he puts it together, and I feel like he's gonna be a key contributor. And I think he takes a massive leap, and then that's why I feel like IQ may be expendable for them because I feel like he's gonna take that step too. That's kind of why my factoring and why they won't extend him and all that, and potentially trade IQ and all that. But yeah, I think Quentin Grimes takes a huge. I love his game and all that. If they use him the right way, there's just so much untapped potential there. But yeah, I think he makes a big leap for them.
Wow,
Oof.
that'll be huge, and I think that's kind of like I would say, uh the most likely scenario. You know, they didn't want to trade Quinn Grimes for Donovan Mitchell last year. Like they was like, here, take RJ, but keep let us keep Grimes,
I
please.
told you, right? I said
Yeah,
I would have done that. Like take away, like don't trade Quentin Grimes. Put if you give me trade RJ and more and and take away less picks, I would have done that. I said that is on the show this time
that was
last year.
yeah, that was Leon's
Yeah, I was
offer.
like keep Quentin Grimes. I was like that's untapped potential right there. And I think but
And you talked about that clip. I saw his high school to first year in college mix on YouTube. If you haven't watched that, go watch that. You see this guy dunking all over the place, like
he's
on
got a
some Zach
bag too.
Levine
Like
highlights,
he's
just
there's a
dunking
lot
it
to his
on
game.
people.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree with Grimes, and that first step is so quick of his. Like you see it all the time. Once he catch that ball on the perimeter, I mean, that first step, he's getting by the defender. And I was watching a clip where he was mentioning he just looks at the guy's hips, so he doesn't even know where he's going. To the
Mm-hmm.
guy is closing in on him, and he's either deciding by looking at the guy's hip whether he's gonna go right, left, or even shoot it. So he's
Yeah.
making this decision so quick. So if he can really hone in on all that talent, I agree with you, Chris. I don't see anybody taking a bigger leap than Quentin
Correct.
Grimes. But for my biggest leap, I don't want to just copy your answer. I had to triple down. Like I've been saying this for 3 years now. I'm tripling down. I just have to do it. I gotta go again to my biggest lead being RJ Barrett for the third year in a row. So hopefully this year it comes to fruition. Because look, something always resonated with me, and I remember you saying this. I think it was 2 years, Chris. So like 2 years later, still I still think about this all the time, and that's how much it resonates with me. You look at RJ's progression, and it's okay. Like went from
It really
14
is.
to
Yeah.
17 to 20. So he's just been doing okay. But when you get picked third overall and you haven't had nobody that early in the draft for the New York Knicks, you just expect more. And you see the guys like John Morant and Zion.
That's what hurts him.
Yeah, so you see like, oh, like even without
Even
their
Garland. Look
even
at
Garland,
Garland.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Garland went
Even with
fifth.
all with Zion and Ja's hiccups in the league, you still was like, or Garland. The Knicks they almost drafted Garland. I still remember they bought him in the day of the draft to work out. So
If his knee was right, because remember he tore his ACL
Mm-hmm.
at college at Vanderbilt. If his knee was straight, that might have been the pick.
Yeah, because I
Because point
think
guard, we've been looking for
we've
point
been
guard for
looking
how
for
long
one.
at
Yeah.
that point? At that
yeah.
point, we were really desperate.
And I
Mhm.
think
Really,
he
really
was hurt
desperate.
too going into the
Yeah,
draft and
yeah,
Yeah,
he
everything. He
had the
couldn't even
knee.
get a
He had
workout.
the torn ACL. He was coming
Mm-hmm.
off
and the
a torn
Knicks they
ACL.
had just no young talent at all. They just
Yeah,
they
no.
couldn't
And remember, we're coming off the off season of
yeah.
hell, right? Where
Well,
KD and
it hadn't
Kyrie go to.
happened yet. It hadn't happened yet.
Oh yeah, but like it was gonna happen, right? It
Yeah,
was brewing. We didn't know it was gonna happen, but KD and Kyrie knew what they were gonna do and all that.
yeah.
So like, but obviously, we at the time, I don't think anybody was tripping that we took RJ over Garland. Nobody
No,
was
no,
really
it was a
tripping like
safe
that.
pick. It was a
Yeah,
safe
no.
pick, and that's why.
I don't get mad at that. I know people like, oh, we should have took Garland. Nobody was saying that in the 2019 draft that they should have
No,
took Garland.
that's such a
I think
hard
everybody
time.
was mad the fact that we didn't get two at least the number two pick. That was people were mad at.
That was such
Not
a
drafting Garland.
hindsight take with the Garland thing. But going back to RJ, listen, I think Tibbs finally figured out to stagger Brunson, Randall, and RJ.
Mm-hmm.
See RJ come out early in the first quarter and come back in the second unit, and that's his time to shine, where he knows he just has to be aggressive. And I think low key the pickup of Dante DiVincenzo and now another year with Josh Hart, like these guys are slashers. Dante's a good spot up shooter. You know, you take out Obi there, who's just always in the corner. He was just not moving from the corner. So it kind of took from RJ's, being able to slash. And I think quickly and Dante, they're gonna get out on transition. And RJ, he's a very good transition player. I mean, he gets to the line. The free throws is looking all right this year so far. So I think that's gonna be something that if he can hit, 75 to 80% from the free throw line. Now you're talking about you adding up a few more points there. I think he can get up to, maybe 23, 24. It's gonna be hard with JB and Randall, obviously, but I think RJ takes the biggest leap, and also his decision making. I mean, the guy's averaging 2.8 assists and averaging 2.1 turnovers. I mean, that just can't happen. I think
But you
now
know
he's
what's
gonna
crazy in college? I thought he could play some point forward coming out because
he
at
was.
Duke
Hmm.
he was beating a lot. He was kind of being like a point forward at Duke. That's
Yeah.
why I thought he'd be a way better playmaker at the next level. And I don't know if it's because of just the offense they run and or lack of
Talent,
offense they run and
Yeah,
just the
talent.
talent
lack of
around him.
talent.
But I thought we would see a lot more point RJ, and we just
Yeah.
haven't seen that in the NBA. So it hasn't translated. And I think that's the thing that's missing because if we had that version, the Duke version of RJ that had the playmaking and all that we saw,
Perfect.
I think that's what a lot of people kind of visioned him. We knew the shooting would be inconsistent, but if he had that, I think that's why people got really excited about RJ. But we haven't seen that
At
RJ
all.
yet. I think
Yeah.
it's there still.
No,
I
it's
think
there.
it's
It's
I
there.
think
there.
it's still there, but I don't know because we got Randall and then Brunson now, especially with Brunson now. I don't think we're gonna be able to see a lot of it, but I still think some of it's there.
But
I
that's
think
what
we
I'm
got
saying. Like,
second unit when we, like you said,
yeah,
when he
exactly.
comes off with the second unit, maybe we'll see it more because we really don't have any playmakers to be honest on this team that can put guys in the right position. So
Yeah.
maybe he'll get to do a little bit more this year. We'll see. I don't know what Tibbs is off. He doesn't really have an offense at all. But yeah, it may be because of just the system that just not allowing him to do that.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and that's been his whole career. I mean, he's had damn near what three, four coaches that's been under the tutelage with the Knicks. So he's like, he hasn't really
I think
been given
too,
the fair shot. And even
Like,
the first year when he was his rookie year, he had a few moments where he was bringing down the ball, but it just wasn't something. I mean, with a team that didn't really make sense, I felt like
Yeah.
he was never really given a fair shot to leading offense.
100%. Oh, yeah. That first year, I don't wish that on any rookie. That first
that's
year,
tough.
wish
That
that on
was
any
tough.
rookie. That was a
It's
horrible position to be.
The
The
Julius
pressure,
peacemaker.
everything that happened that off season, the pressure of being a New York Knicks. Period. Now you got the team over the bridge. They got the guys you thought you were gonna get. That there needs to be a documentary on that on RJ and what happened because I want to know like how he was feeling because that the pressure that he must have had that year, to live up, and then you got Ja and Zion, the first two pick, everybody's on them. That I want to know. I wanted to see an interview on how he handled because he handled it like a pro because that
Mm-hmm.
that would have
I
got
would.
me. That would have got a lot of
That
guys
would have
who
cracked a
aren't
lot of
from New
guys.
York and don't understand it. That
Hmm.
would have messed up a lot of people. And the fact that he overcome
And
that,
he's not. He's
that
from
was
Canada, so he handled
yeah.
it
They
like a
don't they
pro.
don't get mad. They don't get mad. They calm. Maybe
Yeah,
that's why he just got.
year five
He just,
RJ, I think listen, we need him. We need him. He would definitely take the Knicks squad to a next level. Like if we see kind of him making better decision as Chris just mentioned, picking his spots, playing like he played in the playoffs. I mean, look how the
Mm.
Knicks look
mm-hmm.
after those first two games when he really took control after game two in Cleveland and he really played well. Like he was still scoring the same amount he's always scored, but he was just making better reads, making better decisions,
Hmm.
playing within himself. Like if RJ can give us that all year, this next team, watch out, watch
Might be
out.
a
Like
problem.
it's gonna be, why not us for that third seed? But
Facts.
I want to go with you with that biggest leap.
Well, we were talking about playmaking and leading offense. Well, let's talk to the one and only. Let's talk about our point guard, Jalen Brunson. I feel like
Mm,
after a year of, getting in sync with the guys, everybody kind of like, knowing their role within the offensive scheme, I think Jalen Brunson takes that extra leap. It's hard to believe. You might think he's already there, but man, I feel like the way he closed the season off, plus playoff push, this guy was looking like a pure superstar. And I feel like at the beginning of last season, even honestly up until January, he was kind of like, on and off. He'll go off here and there, but it wasn't like he did in the second half of the season and playoffs. So I do think he makes such a leap that he'll be a non-star. He also will be an all NBA, especially how the NBA, the all NBA is being decided now that it's not really by position, but the best, you know, 15 players in the league. So I do think Jalen Brunson is going to make a push for that, and honestly, he's gonna look like a superstar this year. I truly believe it. In the playoffs, it was like a man amongst boys, especially against Cleveland, where he's playing against guys that a lot of people might have considered Garland better than him, Donovan Mitchell better than him, and for another year in a row, he beat Spider. And he showed a guy like Garland that yes, he's a top prospect or for his age, one of the best point guards coming up. But Jalen Brunson, it should be someone that should be feared in this league and should be respected as one of the top point guards in this league. So, like I said, another year within the offensive scheme, another year with this team, everybody just figuring out their role. Jalen Brunson is going to take us to new heights and become that superstar that we all been waiting for.
Oof. I wish, man. I hope that that happens. I saw Fred Katz talking about that on Knicks Fan TV. Just like after January, he averaged like 28 points per game. Like that's not a
Mhm.
small sample size. That's after January. It's still
Yeah,
5 months left in the season, and he shredded that Cleveland defense. That was pretty good, and that Miami defense, he killed them as well. He was like the only one to figure out that Miami defense besides Jokic and them in the finals. So Jalen Brunson, that'd be massive if he really becomes that superstar that we all
Yeah.
hoping for.
And if he takes that next, because the next step for him, I mean, he averaged what 24, 25 a game last year.
Hmm.
hmm
So like, I think that's where he's going to be at. I think it's the playmaking. That's the next step he needs to take. Because if he steps up as a playmaker and all, because we know he's a score first point guard and all that, and we have a lot of those. And so, but we're going to need him to step up a little bit more as a playmaker and all. And if he takes that next step where he's getting close to 8 a game, almost a two assists per game bump,
yeah,
that's going to be huge for us too. Because right now we don't have a point guard like that be able to set up the offense and all that. But if he could take that next step, I think that'll be huge for his game, and that'll definitely get him in the all star, all NBA stuff. And
yeah. And then one more thing I forgot to mention. You got his guys on the team, man. You got Josh Hart, you got Dante out there. I feel like these are guys that know his game pretty well
yeah,
and are gonna be there to just set him up at times as well. So I do agree that he does need to step up his assists. Up, he averages 6 assists, but if he could bump it to 8, that would be pretty useful, man. I do agree.
it's not even so much the assist because assists can lie.
They
They
can.
can lie a big time because like his 6 assists, he averaged 6 assists. You wouldn't even have known that. It's just his ability to be able to break down on offense, set the guys up, put them in the right spot. Because we know what he can do with the ball in his hand and get to the bucket, right? He's got the little
hmm
flow, he's got the little mid range game that's just automatic and all that. Is be able to put guys in the right spot, put RJ in the right spot, get Randall the ball in the right hand, work pick and roll with Mitch and all that, get guys slashing with Josh Hart and DiVincenzo. He gets to that where he understands offenses, defenses, and knows how to manipulate them and put guys in the right spots. That's where I need to see him take that next step. And if he does that, then this team should have a lot of success. That's where I want to see him do more of that,
That's
because
true.
that's what kind of got us tripped up with Miami and all that. They kind of just knew everything, all his moves and all. Yeah, he still went off,
Let
but
him cook.
they let him cook and just stop everybody else. Now, you know, if he had averaged 25 instead, but he got everybody's, we might have been in the conference finals and all that. So,
Yeah, but he couldn't trust nobody.
Yeah,
I
at
mean,
that point
nobody
that's
though.
what I'm
could
saying.
shot.
Guys need to step up too and all
You
that,
guys need to
but
step
you have
up.
to be a
Yes.
little bit more, and that's also with the offense, and the sets and all that we run. That's a whole nother thing too. But yeah, if he takes that next step as a playmaker, get guys in the right spot, that's where I think that's his next level. Because I think offensively, I think we're going to get the same production, 24, 25, efficient, close to 50%, 82% from the line, near 40% free throw shoot. Like that's going to happen, I feel like. But it's the playmaking and all that. That's why I want to see him take the next step.
Yeah, I agree with you guys 100% about the playmaking. And listen, him and Mitchell Robinson, I would love to see some more pick and roll. I mean, we
hmm
rarely see that, and I think like the Knicks, they be using Mitch pretty weird. And I was gonna put him as taking the biggest leap because I think this year Mitch does his thing. He cooks up, gets into that double figure and rebounding, and he's just a beast on the defensive end. Like he's just everything he does is elite. Everything he does well is elite, and then everything that he doesn't do is just like, what? This guy has no offensive bag, can't
No.
shoot a free throw, can't do this, but like rebounding, offensive rebounding, defensively is just elite. So we need to see more from Mitch. But let's just keep it pushing here as we've been talking a while about this, fellas. I want to know who's gonna have the most pressure this year for the New York Knicks. A lot of guys here. We excited about this team, but give me somebody, Don Juan. I'll start with you, who might feel the pressure this year.
Wow, great question. It's the guy that we spoke about earlier, man. I feel like the Nick player with the most pressure this season is Emmanuel Quickly. Entering a contract year, he's looking to prove himself. A lot of these guys, especially when they take it up a notch like he did, you're looking but also at a limited role that you could imagine in a bigger role he could even demand more. So he's looking for a payday. He's looking for that big bag, and he wants some commitment, and I'm pretty sure that he wants it. But at the same time, business is business, and the Knicks are in a situation now that they could make the big move, but his career is on the line in the sense where at least where he's gonna end up playing. So I know it's gonna be a lot of emotions when it comes to Emmanuel quickly this season. We know last season he played great. He had a nice a great season. Honestly, I honestly didn't expect him to improve all around like he did. He was a runner up for six man of the year, which he should have won. Of course, we all know that. But career high in points, career high in field goal percentages, rebounds, and even steals. Like that's one thing that we can't say too as well. Like we expected the offensive side to improve, but just defensively, he was a pest out there. Wait, what the hell?
Don Juan got lost. Like I lost his
Yeah,
thoughts.
nah,
I lost his
somebody
thoughts.
calling on the FaceTime.
Oh
I
My
know.
fault.
man.
Somebody
Or
calling
yeah,
on the
or
FaceTime, man. These
I
MacBooks,
thought I
man,
thought
they
you
get
had
a little too
I thought you had
crazy.
a crazy pop up window. I thought you would have to edit that one out. I thought it was
Nah.
so crazy. I thought something crazy happened. Oh man,
Honestly, I didn't
dog.
even know what happened. I wish I would have. I wish I could see what happened on my end, but we're not back to Emmanuel quickly, man. I just hope that realistically, with the pressure being on him now, it's just the question is if there's another level in him, which is possible. I can't take that away from him, but with his play from last season, you figure the teams are gonna be a little more prepared to come like to face him one on one, or just defensively scheme to him a little better than they did the year before. They're not gonna get caught slipping anymore. They gotta give my guy some respect now on both sides of the floor, honestly. So I do feel like there's a bit of pressure on him because of that.
Hey, we lost Chris. This is a whole bunch of glitches going on over here today. But yeah, that's a great point. Possibly quick coming off an extension, or looking for an extension. So there's gonna be a lot of pressure on our guy Emmanuel quickly. And he had a great year last year, six man,
Yeah,
runner up. So what are you doing next? I mean, here in New York, we always look for what's gonna happen next. But my most pressure, honestly, will be not even from player aspect. I'm looking at the coach. I feel like
ooh,
Tom Thibodeau. There was a lot of rumors this week. This is he's coming up on a contract year next year. What are the Knicks gonna do there? And we talked about this last week, Don Juan. Just the mixture in opinions with Tom Thibodeau. And last year, I said it this last week as well. Like there was a couple games where I'm like, all right, Tibbs is getting fired the next game. So I think this year is gonna be the same thing. You excelled last year, you overachieved, you won 47 games. So how are you gonna improve this year? And we don't have Chris with us right now, but he's been throwing little hints at Tibbs this whole episode where it's just like the offense. I mean, the offense sometimes leaves a lot to be desired. So you don't know if if people get fed up this year, or we saw Worldwide West, he's ready to throw Tibbs out. Like,
yeah,
and that's he has a prominent voice in that front office. So as much as you could give Tibbs his kudo for having the team overachieve last year, this year I feel like he's gonna have a lot of pressure, especially since he's looking for a contract extension as well, low key.
yeah,
So we got Chris back on here.
yeah. And especially if they even make the move, if they make that big move, I feel like that's gonna be a test for Tibbs, because at that point you figure it's either championship or bust, or at least Eastern Conference Finals.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree, Chris. I was just saying. I know you've been
can you
throwing.
hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. We hear
All right,
you.
cool, cool. Yeah,
I know
my
you've been
wires were
throwing
messed up.
a lot of little subs at the offense. So my guy who's gonna feel the most pressure is Tom Thibodeau, because you mentioned that offense a lot this season, and I think he's not a lame duck coach yet, but he's looking for a contract extension as well. So I think he's gonna feel the pressure. And when Tibbs he's coaching for his job, sometimes he does irrational things, and we don't trust him with the minutes. The Knicks just have a lot of guys that do the same thing. So the minutes is gonna be tough this season, and he's gonna, when if the Knicks are losing games, man, we're gonna hear it. gonna hear
Yeah, we
from
heard it
Tom.
when they were winning games.
For real, for real.
Yeah,
But
but
Chris, who
I
you
mean,
got as who's gonna feel that most pressure, or just follow up on that tips thing as
I'm
well?
following up on you, man. I think it's Tibbs. I think Tibbs is under most pressure. I mean, because listen, like right, remember the OKC game where they dropped like 197 points on us, right? And that was like a stretch where it was like, oh, he might not make it. Like that was
Hmm.
real. Like that was real.
Yeah.
Again, there was reports like, hey, he might not make it through this. And then we started winning basketball
No,
games and all that.
That Dallas game, I thought he was a goner. When Tim
Oh, the
Hardaway
Dallas.
shooting.
Oh my
Well,
goodness,
that
that
was
game.
all within, kind of
That
around the same
game was
time.
that's one of the wildest games like I've
Yeah,
ever seen. Like I'm like, hold up, what just happened? Can't believe that happened. And there was some weird games like that. That was like, how do we lose that game like that? Like it was a lot of weirdness. But yeah, I think Tibbs is under the most pressure. Like I feel like this is a big year for him where he needs to show progression as a coach, as especially offensively. We know what he could do defensively and all that, but it's the offense that we need to figure out. And listen, we know we have a roster. Like I said, there's a lot of competitiveness on the roster as far as guys and all that. And we don't got, I know people tripping over the backup power forward position and all that. And my thing is the wings though. We have no wings. That's my one thing is we don't got wings and all that. But I think this is a big year for him. Like he's got to prove it. Like, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do fall below expectations, whether it's just like getting in a play in and getting bounced or not making the playoffs, period. I think it's a wrap for him.
Yeah.
Or we have a bad stretch during this, and they feel like, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a move, because, you know, it could just, we've seen Tibbs, we know how he knows how to build an empire, right? We know that. He's done it, did it in Chicago. He did it in Minnesota, right? They didn't make the playoffs for how long in Minnesota before he took
mhm.
them there. But how does it always end? It always ends sour and all that.
Foundation is freaking.
And we all knew that, right? When they hired Tibbs, it's like, all right, we need to just be respectable, right? We got to get back to being a respectable franchise because we're a joke. We were a joke. We don't know.
Hmm.
We were at the lowest of lows as a franchise, and we had pretty much a lot of lows before that, but that was the lowest point, and he got it to being respectable, right? We're not the butt of jokes. Like we are a competitive team year in and year out. We could beat any team any day of the night,
Hmm.
but there's like there's always a ceiling with him, right? There's a ceiling, and it's like, okay, we got talent, we got Julius Randle, we got the ability to do something big. Can he be that coach that could take us to that next level? And if they don't feel that, then yeah, you might have to make a move, especially with a lot of these
Yeah.
young up and coming coaches and all that. And it seems that's the way teams are moving now. And there's some good coaches that I feel like could be potentially good fits and all that. I could definitely see them going because I think it's for Tibbs, this might be it for him as a head coach. Because he's the last. I mean, we saw Doc got fired and Doc got championship on his resume. We're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of those older coaches get pushed out. Pop only there because he got he got his French superstar. Or else Pop would have might have been like, "Hey, I'm out of here. I ain't doing another 50 loss season and all that." Steve Kerr got the greatest shooter of all time. And all that. So he's chilling. But he might be gone in a couple because he health. But Tibbs, I think it's the end of that old guard and all that. And I think
If
if
Zebo
we
was
don't if
here,
we don't
man,
if they fall below expectations, it could be. Hopefully it's not like a repetitiveness of like we made the playoffs in the bubble in the COVID year and then we regressed and all that. Because if that happens, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for
if
him.
Zebo was here, he'd be disappointed in your answer. If Zebo is the biggest tips guy,
I
and
love Tibbs. I love
yeah,
Tibbs. I defend Tibbs online on Knicks Fancy every time. I defend him. I feel like we have to respect the fact that he made us a respectable franchise. We have to. We guys, I don't know why people think, oh, we're not a joke no more. So
no,
that means you have to take that in and that has to mean something to you as a fan that you're
Facts.
not the butt of jokes no more. Like that means a lot. Like losing 60 games, 50 games, and having Derek Fisher. out here getting snuffed by Matt Barnes and like, come on, now. I couldn't. I'm like, what just
Team doing
happened
the
to our
water
coach?
bottle challenge on us.
Yeah,
Oh
Like,
we get
man.
water bottle. LeBron's doing that. It's like I'm tired. I was tired of that. That has respectability, but we know that there's a cap to that,
Yeah.
and but we got to give his respect. Whether you like his philosophies and all
I
that,
agree with you.
you got
Yeah,
to give him love, no matter what happens this year with him. Whether he's a coach next year, all that, you got to show him love and all that. You could hate that his substitution patterns. You could hate how his offense, how he runs the offense, or how many minutes he plays a guy. But the fact that he made us back to being a relevant franchise, that means a lot. So we got to put
Facts.
that in perspective.
I respect his. I respect
Got
his
to respect
hundred
him. Got to
percent.
respect. Now, whether he's gonna be the guy that
Yeah,
can get us
that's
to
what
where
I was
we
gonna say.
listen, it's cool that we're here, but we all know that if you're not chasing to win a championship, then what are you
What
doing?
are you? Yeah.
What are you doing? I don't care where you are. Like OKC has the mindset, like, oh no, we're trying to win a championship in the next few years, so we got to do something. Like that's your mind. The Knicks, my mindset has to be that. That's why I'm
Mhm.
saying they're gonna make a move to see if it works. Whether, like I say, whether it's rational or irrational, they're gonna make something happen because they gotta do something.
I think that's what
While
Tibbs.
you have this group of guys and you feel like, all right, we got a nice core, we just got to get that guy that we feel like, so that's why I feel like something's gonna happen. But like they got to figure out if this is Tibbs that could take them to that next level.
Yeah.
I
Just
think that's
like the
what.
Warriors with Mark Jackson to Steve Kerr. It was
Mhm.
they
Exactly
needed
right.
somebody to kind of unlock that team, especially offensively, and Steve Kerr was the answer.
And he
Now,
unlocked a lot.
now the question is who's gonna be that guy for us if it's not Tibbs?
That's going to
That's
be the million that
million
they got
dollar
to figure out.
question.
They have to also think a little bit outside the box. Sometimes you got to make a little bit of an outside the box hire. Find that guy who's going to be able to use Jalen Brunson and be able to use RJ Barrett, because that's the thing. We know Brunson going to be Brunson. It don't matter who. It could be us coaching. Brunson going to be Randall going to give you is going to do his thing. But it's like, all right, how do you unlock RJ? Tell me how you unlock RJ. That's going to be the next. If whoever the if Tibbs ain't here, the next coach, and if we still got RJ on the team, how do you unlock RJ? How do you unlock Quentin Grimes? How do you unlock them? Because that's the key to this us taking to that next level. If
Yeah,
you can learn how, because there is another level to RJ's game.
that
There
point
isn't. I
forward.
know there is another level. It's how do you get it out of him? Can you get it out of him? Because right now, at this point, I think RJ is just going to be what he is right now in this system and all that. The next coach got to figure out how to unlock. Because if he can figure that out, then
Hey,
Yeah, I
that's when
think
we could take that next step.
Tips timeline is gonna start. His clock is gonna start once we make that move. Like Chris been saying this whole episode. Once the Knicks make that move, that's when his clock is gonna start, I believe, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. We'll see later on in the year. But fellas, let's keep it pushing right now here. The ending of the show, our favorite. This is my favorite right here. Knicks season total wins right here. This is it right here. This is when we always go back, be like, ha ha, you was very optimistic, or ha ha, you were so wrong. So Don Juan, I want to start with you, man.
oof. All
Knicks
right.
season win total.
So I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna go with the 50 burger yet, man. I'm not feeling that confident, but I know I'm gonna be a little under. I'll say it. I'm gonna go with 40, 48. A generous
48.
48. And honestly, I
That's
do
good.
think that because I feel like our team has enough depth that we are gonna withstand the 82 game season. And I do think that we have a lot of players that, for some reason they play every game. We don't have no injury prone guys. I mean, you could say maybe Mitchell Robinson, but I feel like his injury is always a freak injury. It's not something like he's always like his back is hurting or some along the line.
Yeah,
So,
nothing
I,
lingering. Yeah.
I feel like that we're gonna be 48 and 34, and we're gonna be up there. I mean, it's gonna be a tight race up in the East, especially in the top tier. So I'm not really sure how the standings will play out, but we're gonna be up there.
Yeah, Prezi, you're a little pessimistic all the time, so I want to hear
I'm
this
very, I'm
pessimistic
very,
take.
but I'm actually going to be more of an optimist, and hopefully
Okay.
don't backfire, and then we win 36 games and all that. That's going because last year I said 38 to 41. That was
I
my
remember I was
prediction.
gonna bring that up.
That was 38 to 41, and obviously they won 47 last year. I'm going to go 45.
Hmm.
I'm going to go
45.
45 games. I think they're gonna compete and battle, and that's if they stay with the roster as is. Not assuming they make a trade and all that. But if the roster as is, you assume, you know, DiVincenzo, makes an impact off the bench and all that. Hart another year in the system, but he's going to do. Randall, obviously Brunson. Like I said, we don't got guys who have injuries that we have to worry about. Oh man, what if this guy gets hurt? These guys has an injury history. Mitch gets hurt in there, but even if he's out, Hardenstein's a solid backup. And you hopefully Jericho Sims figured out how to play basketball, and all that. We got to get it. He can dunk. He's a but man, his basketball IQ is hella questionable, but that's for another story. But they'll be all right. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go 45 wins, bro. No,
Yeah,
Jericho Sims,
yeah. Let my
he
boy
irks me
Jericho rock.
sometimes.
I saw him out in Tribeca last summer. Let my boy rock. He
Boy
didn't
got
even
no
say words.
emotion, emotionless,
He
bro.
means well. He means well.
He means
He
rock.
looks like every goon in like these movies that just like he got the hoodie and you like, yo, he's just a baby face assassin.
Yeah, yeah. Jericho's a clown. But fellas, I got it right here. I bought out the 50 grill. This is right here. I'm chefing it up. The grill is ready. 50
Oof.
wins. 50 wins for the Knicks. Kind of like what Don wants mentioned. Like, Tibbs is gonna coach every game like it's the last game.
He's doing it in
The Knicks,
preseason already.
they're just gonna beat they're gonna beat the bad teams. Like they're just gonna beat the bad teams and they're gonna compete against the good teams. And you might catch a break. I know back to backs now you can't rest or whatever the case might be, but you might catch a team sitting out a player just because, and Tibbs is not doing that. And another point that Don Juan mentioned, the depth. I mean, if let's say we lose Brunson for a while, uh McBride can step right in. Chris said it in the beginning of the show. Like McBride is capable. The offense needs some more stringing along, but that defense is top tier already right now. We
Nah,
saw that. We
he
saw that.
gets into people.
He
Yeah,
get he's
he's
a
a
goon.
menace.
He's a dog. He's a dog on that defensive end, and Tibbs loves that. So he might just stick McBride a few games there, and even everywhere, every position except the four, we have backups that can hold it down.
Josh Hart right now is the backup four right now.
If Randall misses sometimes, man, I might have to take that 51 back because it might be tough. But I think the Knicks they're primed for this regular season, but that beginning of the season has to be because last time the Knicks won 54 games, they started off on fire. I think they went like 13-2 or something like that.
Yeah, they get
Uh,
that mellow. Yeah, they went crazy
yeah,
that first
they
part of the
started,
year.
and these first 10 games. I mean, you play Boston twice, you play Milwaukee, you play New Orleans, you play the Clippers. It's a tough first 10 games. We talked about this on the last episode, so that's gonna be a key factor for me too. Like
Yeah. We play
come out the
Cleveland
gate
twice.
strong, beat,
Yeah.
get out of this little tough stretch, 6-4, 5-5 maybe, and then you go up from there. And it's going to be real important for me for the Knicks to start off strong because this is what they said. They're running it back because they like their roster and they're going to have that chemistry. So that chemistry better work from the beginning of the year.
It
And
has to. It has
that
to. 'Cause
that's
last
that's
time we ran it back, like you mentioned, the 54 win season. Guess what? We ran it back and we won like what 38 games that year. So
even the Kemba,
sometimes running it back can doesn't go well. So
even
Mhm.
the season that they signed Kemba, they kind of technically ran it back, signed the Noel back, signed D Rose back, signed Burks
yeah,
back, and how did that work out? That was a
yeah. Because
disaster as well.
they re-signed Josh Hart, right? And you got to hope that he has that same production he had because if it's anything less,
It'll be tough.
then people are gonna get on him, and then now he's making a lot more money than he was,
People
and
are
all
already
that.
getting on them.
People already getting on him. It's already starting, and all that.
And
So
that's
like,
another point. They play like a 53 win team, 53 pace win team when they got Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart just does what New Yorkers love. That's why I don't know.
yeah, he
You
just
see a
gets
small
grind.
section of people hating on him, but he just grinds, throws himself on the
I
ground.
think people trip over the contract, but it's like, guess what, guys? Like, yeah, maybe it's a little overpay, but
Yeah.
first of all, you see contracts now.
Everybody's making
That's
it.
Yeah.
like 4 for 40 now. Like
For
Yeah,
real.
that's nothing really. Like what he got 72. That's
Hmm.
really nothing. Like
I think
it's
he
not
got 80 actually. I think he
80,
got
right?
like
He got
80.
80, whatever. Yeah, still like that's 20 a year. 20 a
Mhm.
year now is mid level
League
essentially.
minimum.
It's nothing. Guys are making 65. Dame's making $60 million this year. We're tripping
Crazy.
over guy making a third. Like, there's not really. And look, what Jalen Brunson's making. Like, it doesn't really. People work to
Yeah.
trip over money and all that. It's like I'm more worried about the years. Years I worry about more contract, not the money. I don't really care about the per year.
Mhm.
Who cares about that? That's really irrelevant. It's the years. Like, oh, you signed that guy for 4 years and a player option. That's stupid. But like the money per year, who cares? Doesn't really matter and
The
all that.
Knicks.
And he gives you a lot of product, and he helped us get to the playoffs because if we don't got Josh Hart, maybe we don't make the playoffs, or maybe
Facts.
we're in the 8 seed or whatever.
Even in
You
the
know,
playoffs against Cleveland, he played huge. I remember
yeah.
him hitting a big three.
Hit one of the biggest shots. Yeah.
So I think the Knicks. That's why I have them penciled in for 50 wins. They're primed for the regular season. They're gonna get after it every game, and that start of the season is gonna be huge for me, fellas. So we'll see. We'll see
50
what the
wins. I
Knicks do.
mean, I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised either if it's 50 wins because like I said, Philadelphia's
Mm-hmm. Shaky.
what's going on with Philly and all that. The Cavs. We got to understand. We saw what we did to them in the playoffs. We got them shook. Jared
Yeah.
Allen, went from being like an underrated big, people loved, and now they're like, oh, maybe he's the
Overpaid
problem.
now.
Yeah,
But
maybe he's the problem.
it's not even those teams, Chris. To be honest, it's like the Hornets. Like we're gonna spank around the Hornets. We're gonna kill the
Oh, yeah.
Wizards. Like these teams, I think in seasons
Wizards.
past, the Knicks might get slipped up and tripped by these teams. But
They'll
you know,
lose to like the Wizards. They'll lose to like how that we lost to
I
Charlotte
mean,
last
yeah,
year.
it's an
You
NBA
lost to
season.
Charlotte.
We
Yo,
always
that
have
was a
those
bad
games at the
one,
guard,
man.
like those Saturday games, those Saturday noon games that just for some reason like you just low energy. You know how those games, the rainy day in the city, and it's just
Mm.
like
It's
you just feel like no, we might slip up against Charlotte
it's
this
funny
night.
because we're playing the Wizards right now in our last preseason game. Jordan Poole has 41 points. That's the kind of
Hey.
things you're gonna
Hey,
see. Mike
he
Muscala
might
has
shoot.
five
He
three.
might shoot like 36% this year, but that boy gonna average like 25 a
Oh yeah,
game,
he's gonna
and
have
he
fun.
gonna be fun to watch. Him and
Yeah.
Kuzma, they gonna lose
I'm picking
60
him.
Definitely
games,
gonna be
but they gonna
fun.
be fun at least.
They might give up on 50, but they're gonna be
They
fun to
gonna,
watch.
they're gonna be the worst defensive team maybe in like NBA history. Like it might be that bad, but they're gonna be hella fun to watch because they're gonna light it up. Jordan Poole and Kuzma they got their dances ready. They're
Yeah.
gonna have the down 30 dance. Like they're gonna get cooked every night, but
Oh
they're gonna
man.
average 25 a pop.
Poor Taj Gibson, man, the OG. We got the OG over there.
OG
We
over
got to give
there,
him a
yeah.
second round pick and just bring him here for the bench because he doesn't want to
We
see
got
that.
we got 70 of them, so might as well do it.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
doesn't
We need
yeah.
a
want to see
backup
Jordan.
four.
Oh man, do not.
I guess
Never mind. Do not
we gonna
give
give
Tibbs
Jacob
that
Toppin
ammo.
15 minutes like
Never
some
mind.
people
Don't
want.
give Tibbs that ammo. Don't give Taj Gibson. Don't bring Taj because Tibbs will definitely start playing Taj Gibson for
Oh,
sure, 100%.
Todd's gonna get 20 minutes if he comes here. Watch.
Oh man, yo, fellas, what a great show. Lot to unpack on this episode. Uh, but we all have the same sentiment. Like it's gonna be a fun season. It's gonna be a fun next season, and we definitely gonna chop it up more here as we close out the show, man. You already know the vibes. It's your boy Triple M with my guys Don Juan and the Prezi, Chris LeBron. Make sure to go on OTB right now off the ball. You know how we do out here. And check out our player rankings. I mean, the guys did a lot of things with those player rankings. We had a lot of fun. The Knicks actually have two players in the top 50. Jalen Brunson at
We had none
28,
last year. No
Julius
Knicks in the
Randle
top 50
at
last year.
42. So, the Prezi made a mandate to put some Knicks in there. Thank you, Chris. That's what we wanted to see. We needed that mandate show, and that mandate to be put on. But the guys are just doing a lot of work out there, and it's pretty fire to see. So I'm gonna give it to you, Chris. Talk about the fellas, what we doing, what we cooking up right now.
Yeah, you know how basketball season is. That's kind of how the network got popping and all that. So this basketball season is the network season. So we got a lot of things cooking up. We're doing we're going down from 50 all the way to one during our shows. We just did 50 to 41. We're gonna do 40. The next 10 guys we'll be doing for the next show and all that. Get all the way down before the NBA season starts this week, next week. Can't believe it's already starting, but got that going on. Obviously, going to do a lot more, off the ball podcast stuff. Off, gonna have hopefully some big shows lined up. I'm really excited. I won't say nothing yet, but hopefully some big shows lined up with some big time former hoopers and all that. Got that lined up. It said make sure to check out offtheballnetwork.com. check out Get a Bucket podcast with me and Kevin. We talk college basketball's around the corner too, and then we got the Knicks out here, but St. John's gonna have the city rocking too
Mm.
with Patino here. Patino doing some big things, he pulled the Dion. He got his loot.
Dion.
He got everybody out of there.
He got right in
Everybody.
Iona, in Iona.
Only
Now he's
way
back.
only he kept the Dominican though. He kept the big Dominican there, Soriano there.
Yeah.
But everybody else, he said, "Yeah, I can go. Goodbye." For a whole bunch of new, but he got the city rocket. Basketball in New York is going to be real fun.
Fact.
As far as not just the Knicks and all that. And you can give credit to, I guess, Brooklyn, so they're gonna be all right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but St. John's, the Knicks, the city gonna be rocking. The Garden gonna be rocking this year, hardcore.
we need
And
that. We
I'm
need that.
excited. I'm excited because college. Obviously, we know out here in New York, college to college, we don't have really college scene, college football, college basketball is not really a thing, but Patino really got it rocking. So I'm excited about that. So Get a Bucket podcast. We just did our Big Ten preview. Gonna do a Pac-12 preview next. We had our Big East preview the first season, but yeah, we got a lot of things cooking up at Off the Ball now. We're gonna be doing a lot of daily shows and all that. I know Cole got something cooking up. Try to highlight more of like the. Obviously everybody highlights the stars and all that league, but we're gonna try to give love to the guys that the role players and all that. We're gonna try to give more love to and all that. So we got a lot of cool things cooking. I love basketball season. It's my favorite. That's why the podcast is. That's why I did a podcast and all that. That's why everything got started because of hoop. And I can't wait. Can't wait for the season to start and all that. And dive into the NBA, college, high school basketball, everything, man. I just can't wait, man. Basketball season is my season. I can't wait.
My guy Kevin, he really knows. He really knows his college.
Now, man, I'm not even saying this to say this. He probably knows more college basketball than I will ever know, and he's probably smarter than some dudes that are on TV. I'm not even saying that just to say it. That dude knows everything. Like you listen to the shows, and sometimes I'll be like, I didn't even know that. I don't even know. Like he's off the dome. He was, oh yeah, this kid, he's from Prolific, right? He just naming off where they went to AAU and all that. I'm like, I have to write down everything. I'm like,
we played trivia. We played trivia last year, and the college. It was not even fair. The college question. He just took over. He was just like.
He is one of the smartest college basketball heads. I mean, he's straight hoop head, but college basketball, I've never met someone who has the knowledge, because you know how college basketball is. There's so much turnaround. There's so many, like my brain at this age, I can't remember a lot of stuff, but for him to know, like, the constant turnaround with the 300, just like 300, 400 college teams, and you could talk about the lowest kind. He'll give you a rundown of NYU and their squad, LIU. He'll tell you that. Manhattan College, like he'll tell you. We've done that before. Like so it's like it's incredible the knowledge. That I'm glad I picked him as a co-host and to do this because I learn a lot from him and all that. He puts me on my toes and all that. So it's all, but yeah, Get a Bucket podcast. Check that out. Off Ball podcast is mine. Check out all the great, dope content creators. Obviously check you guys out. You got killing it, the game and all that. So can't wait. It's basketball season's the Off the Ball Network season.
Yes, sir. Don Juan, wrap us up, man, as we get up out of here.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys for kicking it with us tonight or tomorrow, whenever you guys tune in. Knicks season countdown is real. It's about a week or less than a week away by the time this goes out. So I can't wait for opening night. We're going to be there. So again, if you see us out there, say what's up. We always show love to the people, man. It's feel like Knicks fans, I feel like it's always rocky, whether it's on the gram, whether it's on Twitter, on the social medias, it gets a little crazy. But when you see each other in person, it's always love, man. So I definitely appreciate all the battles and debates that we all have. But nonetheless, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like the video, please. We appreciate that. And follow us on the social media accounts, of course. We always putting out whether it's clips or any announcements or any news or highlights that come about throughout the day and whatnot. So thank you guys for joining us. Oh, Triple M got to sign us out too, man. Almost,
Nah, yeah, I said my
piece. You gotta throw him the oop.
Yeah, you gotta throw me that oop, bro. But of course, thank you for Chris for jumping on. As I said earlier in the episode, when you come on, we'd like to give you your flowers. I mean, you gave us the platform, me, Don Juan, and Zebo, talk all the smack we want. And we just like
I told you was meant for this, bro. I told you was meant for this.
kicking it with the fellas. I mean, I always tell the story with Chris. I just seen him picking up like just everybody, like high school hoopers, college hoopers, the Bill Petos, the Charlie. I'm like, yo, who is this guy? He's just picking up everybody, and that's how
Man,
me and Chris connected, and he
that's how
allowed
you got to
us.
do it. You can't be afraid to just go after it. I tell a
Hmm.
lot of people who just like, yo, how'd you get this? How'd you get that? And I'm just like, you can't be afraid. You
Yeah.
just gotta just go 100%. And hey, they tell you no, they tell you no. They leave you on red, they leave you on red. But you got to keep it pushing. Too many people get discouraged and all that, and
Mhm.
that's why people do like one show and they're like, oh man, nah, you got to keep it pushing. How many times I get left on red, and those same people who left me on red now asking me, oh, can I come on your show now? Like now it's come to that level,
Yeah,
where
that's
I
how.
could just hit up someone and be like, "Yo, you come on," boom, and it connects the networking and all that. Where it's just, and the fact that my networking helps everybody else at the network,
Hmm.
networking where everybody else can just be like, "Yo, can I hit up that person? They get them on this show. Now you network with that," and it's just, and the fact that if you're associated with the network, they'd be like, "Oh, you a oh, yeah, I know y'all good."
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
just that, that's what you got to do. You just got to keep grinding. You just got to put the work in, and just be consistent and don't be afraid. Too many people are afraid. It's like, I know I've never been someone who's like to talk to people or be like that, but if I wanted to make it work, I had to get out of my shell. And that's what you
Mhm.
got to be. You got to send emails. You got to send DMs. Hey, you get left on red. Hey, try again in a couple more months. I did that, and then they hit him back, and they like, oh yeah, I seen your show. All right, bro. Or I got people hitting me up. Their dads be like, yo, I need you. Can you get my son on your show so they can go, so we can get their name going? That's what you got to do. Then
And
that you
here we
guys are
are.
putting the work, and
Here we are,
that
four
shows.
seasons later, 5 seasons. This is the fifth
You
year
know,
of the
this
night.
is I've done this, because I used to podcast before, but like it wasn't the same. But like 20, pandemic has been. This
Hmm.
is what 3-4 years in,
Yeah,
and you know, I've made a lot of great connections. You guys were just I hosted Knicks fan TV, bro.
that's
Like
dope,
host,
man.
like I was like CP trusted me to host,
Facts.
like be the guy, not the co, not the co-pilot, the pilot for a couple shows, like.
Hey, the G League next
Yeah,
team.
I mean, it was me. We were the cops and all, but
Yeah,
you
that
know
was
what?
hilarious. The
The
chat was
people
going
at
crazy.
first they looked at us and probably like, who are these two guys? They seen it, we seen them, and but then at the end of the show, they were like, oh, when Chuck D is like, yo, you and Jeff, yeah, y'all did a great show. Yeah,
That was a great show.
that's love. That's
That
Yeah,
love. And
is.
everybody's like, yo, y'all not the same, you're not the regular guy. You ain't the star lineup, but you know what? Y'all came off the bench and y'all did y'all thing.
all right,
That
quick.
shows in that trust and all that. So that's people got to do. Just keep grinding, keep focusing. Keep going at it. And then eventually your time will come. You just be patient. And people want instant gratification, and sometimes that don't happen. But sometimes you just wait in and you get that DM from CP, and he's like, "Yo, you gonna come on the show?" And you're like, "Whoa!" And
There it
you feel like,
is. There it is.
like,
If
so
this
you just
little
got to
thing
keep working. You
inspire
guys
you,
are working. You guys have gone to, you guys, like I tell you this all the time, and then you guys are working, and you've gotten better and better with each show. I watch, I see when I watch shows now, I watch as if I'm a scout. I'm like, all right, I see him. Oh, he improved on that and all that, and I look at that aspect of the podcast and all that. And you guys improved immensely from show one to now. So give y'all flowers. Y'all killing it, and get ready for this next season next week, baby.
Yes, sir.
yeah, man. I mean, look, if that didn't inspire you, Chris, TED Talk right there, I don't know what is. I'm about to go. I'm about to go
It's
run
simple,
it.
man.
I'm gonna
Some
run the
people
West
make it
Side.
too
I'm
difficult,
hyped.
way too difficult. Like this podcast and stuff, people make it too difficult. Sometimes it's just as simple as be consistent with your shows and just go for it. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot the DMs, shoot the emails. Don't be afraid. They leave you on red. That's cool. Keep it. Go to the next one and keep trying. And eventually, the cream rises to the top.
I hear
Mm.
that, brother. Yo, thank y'all for joining, and we out of here on that note. Nick's Wild and signing out. Peace.